A few months back, I decided to take on the challenge of getting every single trophy in my favorite horror game franchise, Outlast. It was by far the most fun I've had since I began this trophy hunting experience, and with the overwhelming amount of support on the video I did for the games, I knew when I saw the recently released Outlast Trials had a platinum trophy, I had to go for it. Now, Outlast Trials is a unique game to the series. It strays away from the classic single-player, story-driven experience and takes on the role of an online cooperative multiplayer. As a fan of the series, I was intrigued by the title, but also just not sure if it was going to be as enjoyable as the first two games, but after 35 hours and achieving the platinum trophy, I can confidently say I had an unexpectedly good time in this different but enjoyable Outlast. Our journey begins in 1959, prior to the events of Outlast 1 or 2. It's the height of the Cold War, and Murkoff is recruiting the homeless with propaganda of a better life. We take on the role of one of the misfortunate who had fallen for the deception, and after a short ride in the back of a van with a bag on our head, we find ourselves in the heart of the Murkoff Corporation. We quickly see these experiments are probably going to have some serious side effects before we unconsensually consent to the trials and have Murkoff goggles drilled into our skull. From here, we have the opportunity to customize our reagent and wake up in our first trial. This obviously serves as a basic tutorial mission to get you familiar with gameplay mechanics, but also sets up the story for each reagent. Throughout the trial, you're shown representation of moments in your life while Dr. Easterman is in your ear feeding you nonsense as Murkoff begins its brainwashing process. You willingly take both of your public and private life records and toss them into the shredder, erasing all traces of your past, making you a ghost for Murkoff to do as they please with. Throughout this first trial, we're introduced to one of the prime assets of the experimental population, Mother Gooseberry. She, like all of the other threats we'll eventually face, are previously failed reagents that were deemed useful enough to live as tormentors and obstacles for future test subjects. After completing our first trial, we ride a shuttle to our new home, the Sleep Room, where reagents get to interact with one another while of course under supervision, and is one Dr. Wernicke's favorite spot to hang out. This is also the main hub for the game, where you can invite friends, arm wrestle, play chess, purchase upgrades, and most importantly, track badge progress. This is important because every single trophy in the game is tied to a badge, so in order to achieve the platinum for Outlast Trials, we'll have to essentially complete a bunch of miscellaneous tasks unrelated to the story. Knowing this, I intentionally decided to ignore focusing on badge progress throughout my first character playthrough and instead just organically play the game to its completion. There are 5 main trials in the game with multiple small challenge experiments in between. Each time you complete a trial, you unlock reagent tokens, and once you've collected 20, your reagent will have the option to participate in one final trial, and if you're successful, earn release back into the world, reborn. With that being said, it was time for us to hop into the first main trial of the game, Kill the Snitch. During our shuttle ride, we're shown subtle brainwashing visuals while hallucinogens are released, and once we arrive at the police station, are ready to obey Dr. Easterman's command. Your objective is to locate and exterminate the snitch. Throughout the trials, Murkoff has multiple obstacles designed to condition the successful reagents to later serve their interests. Our first task is to reach the security room, where we're introduced to the prime asset of this trial, Leland Coyle. Sneaking around him and the other threats, we find the snitch and begin to push them to the execution chamber when the power is shut down. This forces us to go into the basement and restart the generator. With the power back on, we continue to push the snitch, only to find our route is blocked by locked doors. Remembering back to one of the hallucinations we had on the shuttle, it becomes apparent that the keys needed to unlock each door would be found inside of bodies scattered around the map. Searching each body with the appropriate symbol marking, we find all 3 keys and arrive at the snitch's final destination. We electrocute them to death while avoiding the world's worst security guard, and with the trial finished, head back to the shuttle, where we're evaluated on our performance and returned back to the sleep room. We're told to meet with the engineer, where we get to choose a rig to bring on all future missions. Rigs are essentially passive abilities that give you a temporary boost throughout a mission. I choose the stun rig and spend the 1 ticket I've earned so far. I play through some of the smaller challenge missions and unlock a few extra RX upgrades, with the first being Slide. I'll need this to eventually unlock the Slip and Slider trophy, so I figured I'd unlock the ability as soon as possible to start progressing towards that. Jumping into the second trial, we arrive at the orphanage and once again encounter Mother Gooseberry. Our objective is to cleanse the orphans of their impurities and help shape them into proper Murkoff prospects. Despite the orphans being wooden mannequins, we obey Dr. Easterman's wishes, and after cleaning up the dorms and classrooms of their blasphemy, move on to the cafeteria, where things get a little outlasty. A non-believer in Murkoff is brought out nailed to a cross, and after powering up the generator and unlocking the saw handles, we cut off the traitor's legs and feed our offerings to the children before getting chased out of the trial by Gooseberry and company. But it's not long after we run into her again at the start of trial 3. This time at the Futterland amusement park, we need to get into the root canal ride, and to do so must earn tickets through the carnival minigames. Naturally, we grab human organs out of a pot and use them to win the games. Once inside of the root canal, a boat of children appear, and our job is to punish them by pushing them into a shredder at the end of the ride. With the D done, we move into trial 4, which in my opinion was the most fun of the core 5, vindicate the guilty at the courthouse. Upon arrival, we're summoned for jury duty and must make our way through the lobby and library to the courtroom. It's here we see a unique situation going on. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure the judge isn't supposed to be strapped to their chair with the bag over their head. Regardless, the prosecutor goes on to accuse the defendant of kidnapping, torture, and murder. Our job is to destroy any evidence that may be had on the accused mannequin. We start by collecting severed heads from lockboxes and dumping them into acid. Next, we hunt down witnesses who have explosive devices strapped to their head. We're given a detonator and tracker to do so, and once they're all dealt with, head back to the courtroom to get this case tossed due to a lack of evidence. To punish the judge for allowing these wild accusations to be made in the first place, we now put her on the stand and allow the sweet hammers of justice to slam down. With the trial adjourned, we move into the 5th and final core 1 of the game, Pervert the Futterman. We arrive at the toy factory and need to find a key in the basement to get inside. Once we do so, we find a deviant in the production room. Since they have clearly committed treason to the almighty Murkoff, we need to punish them for their actions. We find the keys to operate the machines and load them in with the appropriate materials. And while exploring around the conveyor belt, I come across a secret document. Just like the original games, documents serve as a collectible found scattered across the trials, and with this being the 15th I've collected, I finally popped my first trophy after about 9 hours of playing. And just 8 minutes later, my second trophy comes in with Hunchback for spending 3,600 seconds or an entire hour crouched. We go on to eventually burn the deviant and complete the trial, and with that, have enough reagent tokens to finish our therapy. We speak with the security guard in the sleep room, and after turning in our tokens, are allowed access to the release area. This takes us to one last shuttle ride to our final trial of the game. The doors open and we once again find ourselves at the mansion where it all began. In front of us are our new personal and private documents, a new identity. With this being the grand finale of the game, playing it for the first time, it's also the most difficult. We're introduced to a set of brand new enemy types that deal significantly more damage, and I'm not sure if I just had really bad luck every time I played the trial, but I had only ever found meds on this map once. So after dying in our first attempt, we run it back and successfully place our new documents down, unlocking access to the lower floor of the mansion. From here, our job isn't super clear. Our only instructions are spider, eye, lamb, which at the time being makes no sense at all. We're forced to sneak around another new enemy type, this one having night vision goggles, until we find 2 keys. Using them to unlock the last couple of doors in the mansion, we continue to explore until finding a film. Taking it across the house, we place it in the projector and once again are greeted with the words spider, eye, lamb. Still unsure of the meaning, we can hear a distorted sound nearby that leads to a transmitter. Once the signal is clear, the word spider can be heard repeatedly. Still under the pressure of having no heals and being one hit, I continue to play cautiously and earn the chicken in a pot trophy for hiding 100 times. Eventually, clearing the signal for the other 2 transmitters and hearing the words spider, eye, lamb for the 100th time, the exit opens, and being chased with no room for error, we sprint to the door of freedom. Let me out! Did I do it? Let's go! Oh my god. Wait, I can move around. Oh my god, this is like the ending of Outlast 2. You know how like the giant flash is happening? I'm running. We see the same light flash and hear the same tone Blake does right before the end of Outlast 2, only to wake up seemingly moments later, clearly confused. We find ourselves in a hotel in Cuba covered in blood when the room phone rings, and after picking it up, hear what is clear to be our activation phrase one last time. Spider, eye, lamb. We fade back into the trance state, and this marks the end of our reagents playthrough. The credits roll and we're taken back to the character creation screen to do it all over again. Throughout my second playthrough, we made much more progress towards the platinum, quickly earning a lot of the natural progression trophies. We unlocked Marathoner for sprinting 3,600 seconds, Mechanophilia for using 100 rigs, Power Surge for using 100 batteries, Bullseye for headshotting 50 enemies, and Glutton for therapy for completing my 25th trial. At this point, I began to be conscious of the badges I wasn't progressing on and started to focus more on those uncommon tasks. While on my item collection grind, I made sure to slide cancel around the map and was able to pick up the slip and slider trophy I mentioned earlier in the video. During trials, you'll encounter randomly trapped doors that, if set off, will pin you to the floor with a device that sprays psychedelics in your face. You can identify these by a red light that almost looks like a doorbell, and if you manage to get to the other side of one of these doors, you have the opportunity to disarm the traps and take their batteries. Once we disarm our 50th trap, we unlock the Trigger Happy trophy. In the same trial, Mother Gooseberry gets a bit too close for my liking, and after smashing a bottle across her face, we pop Major League Player for hitting 100 enemies with throwables. About 20 hours deep in my playthrough at this point, we find ourselves back at the mansion preparing to release our second reagent. While attempting to avoid the enemy with night vision goggles, I toss a bottle in the opposite direction of where I'm hiding and get Bamboozler for causing 50 distractions. We go on to free our second character and find this one has a different fate than our last. Unlocking the second of 3 possible endings the game currently has to offer, this one has our reagent gaining consciousness as they're in the middle of crashing a car outside of a peace conference between Vietnam and the USA. In a panic, they look down to see a bomb strapped to their chest, and before there's time to do anything else, it blows up and we start our entire playthrough process once again with another brand new character. With this being our final playthrough, it's time to dial it in and grind out the remaining 15 badges. Starting with a simple one, we kick down our 50th locked door.
All right, this is the last door that we need to kick down in order to get the Anger Issues trophy for breaking down 50 locked doors. Now I need to try to hide because we're playing on the highest difficulty in the game, and I'm not trying to die because I kicked down one door.
Then, while progressing on picking locks, come across our 50th adrenaline.
Oh, I found a locked first aid. Here we go. This is gonna have the adrenaline in it. Come on, come on, come on. Dang it. All right, here we go. This is gonna have the adrenaline in it. And hey! All right, this is the final adrenaline. Oh. Speed freak.
And then find and pick up our 1000th item. As you saw, that 1000th item was a rig recharger. We use it and eventually convince a teammate to also donate one they found to the cause.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
The next day, we finally pick our 100th lock.
Sleight of hand. Oh, that was my last container. I forgot about that. Nice.
And we're officially at the point now where we're just going to be a liability for our team. A lot of the remaining badges are related to taking damage and overall just being bad at the game. We spend the next few trials running into every psychosis mine I could find to get Vision Quest for spending 600 seconds in full psychosis. Next, I start a trial where you need to carry a container of acid across the map. Well, if you sprint or jump while doing this, you take major damage, which was super convenient for our next trophy.
Hey, I got the trophy. That's the last time I'll go down, I promise.
Still able to abuse the acid, I spend the next 15 minutes with my teammate having her down herself.
Come on. Dang. Not it, not it. Oh, there it is.
Afterwards, we bust a door down together to pop Together We Are Strong for performing 50 co-op moves. And then we spent, no exaggeration, the next 45 minutes chasing down an enemy that'll tackle you if you walk near their hiding spot. We did this so I could kick that enemy off multiple times to eventually unlock crowd control.
There it is. Yeah, we were at 49. All right. Look how fast we did that.
That took an hour.
Getting to the end of the longer grind badges, I take a hit from an enemy to unlock Hemophiliac.
All right, there we go. Lost 10,000 health points. I'm not gonna lie, in this individual match alone, I think I'm at like maybe 800, 900. I've been kind of grinding the health points lost.
Later, I find the leftover bits of a psychedelic mine and quickly run into it to lose some sanity so I could pop my 50th antidote. And finally, we consume our last med.
All right, here's 1, 2. All right, we're able to pop our final med here, and that'll get us Hypochondriac for consuming 200 medicines. Honestly, I'm shocked that that ended up being one of our final trophies. All right, that leaves us with just 2 more trophies, one of which is going to be an AFK grind.
As I said, that next trophy we'll need to AFK for, which is to use night vision goggles for 36,000 seconds, aka 10 hours.
I got the trophy, boys. Oh my God.
With one last trophy left before the platinum, I jump into the release protocol one last time to see the final ending for the game. In my opinion, this is the coolest one so far. After release, we see our reagent inside what we can only assume to be an early version of the morphogenic engine we later see in Outlast 1's Whistleblower DLC. Strapped in, all we can do is sit and listen to a conversation between Dr. Wernicke and some lab scientists where we learn some important information. In the time between our last trial and now, we've been transported to Colorado, home of Mount Massive and of course the Murkoff headquarters below it. It's said that a scan on our reagent's brain shows as much gray matter as it does tumors. Tumors have been mentioned countless times in the series among test subjects and are the results of the psychedelics used throughout the trials. Of course, we all know this is done to bring our reagents to a close proximity of death with as much trauma as possible so they could eventually activate the engine and control the Wall Rider. We see the screens in front of us display the same Dream Therapy visuals that were found in front of Billy Hope's pod from the first game as we slowly fade away with the Skinner Man's tendrils creeping up into our vision. With the story officially complete and my time on Outlast Trials coming to an end, we shuttle into our final trial. Our objective, complete the trial without taking any damage.
All right, this should be our final trial before the platinum. We've got sabotage the lockdown at the police station. In my opinion, this is the easiest trial to do in the whole game. You could speed run this entire thing in under 5 minutes, especially if you have a crew with you. Obviously, though, we are doing this solo, and all you gotta do is just take this gas canister and fill up a generator at the end of the map. That simple. And especially with us having the stun rig and knowing the route that we need to take, we should be able to do this. Oh yeah, this is gonna take us all the way to where we need to go. We've got 3 bottles in hand, and the enemy's already over here. Just go ahead and stun him with the rig. I'm not gonna lie, I got a crazy set of doors this time. I should be able to loop around over here though. Oh yeah, I've never seen this door open before. This is a weird route that they gave us. Okay, my stun is almost charged. I don't want to take any risks here, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay down the fuel and just hide here. You can see that we popped hide and restore. And what this allows me to do is charge my rig faster than normal. Between this and 3 bottles, I don't really see any way we take a hit. Oh, that's such good luck. All right, let's pull this. All right, I'm out of here, baby. And that should do it. Another flawless run. We just got to wait for the shuttle to get here, but I doubt that he's going to have the time to get here before the evacuation's ready. Even if he does, I should be able to just juke him out. Ah, we're home free. All right, that is our 10th flawless run, and that should give us the platinum trophy for Outlast Trials. Can't touch this once again for doing 10 flawless runs. And Spider Eye Lamb for getting the platinum trophy for Outlast Trials. Thank you all so much for watching, man. This one was a blast to do. It honestly took me about 35 hours to get the entire plat just because there are some grindy trophies, like 10 hours in night vision. But overall, honestly, a surprisingly fun game. And you guys already know, with it being a title in the Outlast franchise, we had to go for it since we've done every other trophy in this game's history. So if you guys haven't already seen that video, 10 out of 10, I definitely recommend it. By far, that's the best video I've ever made here on the channel. This was a great time, man. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one.